Hi and welcome back. My name is Michael Hansen, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how we are going to launch the Saturn V rocket with the Apollo 11 module on the top. I have paused this particular sequence in Orbitor because I was tired of, in the last video I talked over the chatter that was going on in the radio connection, and it was a bit annoying, and I also think that it made it difficult for people to actually hear what I said. So I've chosen to pause this while I introduce this video. So in this video we are going to let the rocket run its complete sequence. This is going to be a video in several steps. The first step is probably just going to be that we get into orbit. And then maybe we have time to dock the command and service module sitting up here with the lunar excursion model sitting down here. But we have to go through the stages of the flight, and yeah, let's see what happens. In this video I'm just going to change the angle of the camera so that you can see that the rocket is actually beginning to arc. I think this is a good position. Perhaps this is a good position. I haven't tried running this sequence in its full length. If you press the enter key on the numeric keyboard or keypad, the rocket will start its automated sequence, but I haven't really tried to just let the countdown go its course. So let's see if we within roughly 10 seconds will get there. I'm going to unpause it and let's see what happens.
10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
Okay, we got a roll program. Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on proper heading. Plus 30 seconds.
As you can see, at first the rocket goes roughly straight up, and then at some point it should begin to arc. It can be that I have chosen a really bad position for the camera, so the rocket is actually arcing in towards us. I'm actually not sure about that, but let's see what happens, and if not we can go to the cockpit view. Now you can see on the artificial horizon over here that the rocket probably haven't begun to arc it. I'm not sure that this artificial horizon actually is working. We can see it in the other cockpit view. No, it's not. You can see we're already down to plus 50 degrees. Now you can see up here the rocket is arcing like this. You can clearly see that it has an arc. It's going in a direction. Let's see it from here. I'm going to see it from outside so we can see the stage separations. We can see the fuel up here.
For mode 1 Charlie.
When the fuel reaches
mode 1 Charlie.
please. When the fuel reaches 0 here.
11, this is Houston. You are go for staging. Over.
Yeah, thank you very much. When they reach 0 here, we will disengage the first stage. He will say something like Apollo, something like Apollo disengage or something like that. When we are there, let's see. Yeah, we're almost there. There might be some stutter in, for some reason, yeah, as you can see, for some reason my computer or the Orbiter 2010 has some
11 Houston,
problems
thrusters go, all engines, you're looking good.
when we're separating the first stages.
Roger, you're loud and clear, Houston.
But you can see the stage there is flying down towards Earth, and this also tells you why all of these
We got skirt step.
Roger, we confirm, skirt step.
launches.
Tower's gone.
Roger,
There's the
tower.
tower. The tower was used if they had to abort. I'm not sure exactly what it contains, if it's some way to keep the
Houston, be advised, the visual is go today.
command and service module to keep that
This is Houston, roger that.
in place. You know, so it's going with the bottom down first. I haven't tried aborting it, so, and I won't be doing that now.
11
But
Houston,
you
your
can
guidance
see
has
now
converged, you're
why
looking
these
good.
flights were conducted over water, because when these modules separate, it's not good if they fall down on land, that is. Alright,
11 Houston, you are go at 4 minutes.
Roger.
let's switch to the cockpit view again and then go in here. Let's look at the pilot view out through this. So this is what the pilots actually saw. You can see me having real difficulties actually getting up here in the previous video. But this reticle you can see here in the center of my view, that reticle was used by the pilot to engage with the lunar service, the lunar excursion model, not the service model, lunar excursion model. So I'm going to show you some things now that we are flying. Alright, so I'm going to select orbit over here. Now, in the previous video you could see that we got sort of a straight arc going all the way out like this.
11 Houston, you are go at 5 minutes.
But here you can see we are getting
Follow
more of a ellipse, and as we go further and further into space, this ellipse will become an orbit. Now we might have to do some fine adjustments in order to circularize the orbit. That is done by doing either a
Fly to
prograde or
S4B to COI
retrograde
capability.
burn.
Mark,
Depends on
S4B to COI
how you want to
capability.
circularize it. Let's go back to the So this is the pilot view. You can see the artificial horizon is not working. I think this is a completely passive interior. Sorry, this was the mission commander module, this was the pilot module, and I can't remember what him over here was called, but he
Roger 11, your go from the ground at 6 minutes.
But if you look around, I think you can see out. So there's a porthole there, and a porthole there, and a window there, and a window there. Now it seems that, as someone also said previously,
Follow 11, this is Houston,
that
level
in
10
the-
time at 8+17, outboard cutoff at 9+11.
in the Apollo 13 movie, I think he was called Schweiger, was standing here and piloting the command and service module into the lunar excursion model, why I think it's Fred Hayes, his name was standing over here and measuring the distance to it in some way. We don't have that here, so we're going to measure the distance in a different way, and also to see if we are there are several ways that you can translate
7 minutes.
sort of
11, this is Houston, Roger, your
vehicle
go
like
from
this.
the ground at 7 minutes, level 10 time at 8+17, outboard cutoff at 9+11.
Roger.
You can translate it rotating like this. So if you stretch out your arm, then turning the hand around the axis is that kind of rotation. Then you can rotate the front up and down,
Cutoff.
and you can also rotate it if you look at it from above in that circle. But you can also translate it linearly up and down. So if you move your hand up and down, and forward and backward and from sides to sides. And you can see that here. Right now I have the RCS set to rotational. I can switch it to linear. The problem with this mod is that I don't get a call out in all the other. Let's go outside.
Just built the mixture ratio ship.
Now we are almost entering an orbit. In some of the other parts of these simulations with other vehicles, they call out rotational and linear translation. They don't do that here, and that's a bit of annoying because when you're approaching this sorry, I just had some bit of a problems. When you are approaching
11, this is Houston, you are go for staging, over.
Understand, go for staging.
Sorry. When you're approaching the LEM, you would want to know whether you're doing rotational or linear translation, because you can't be off both rotational wise and linear wise, and you can't just rotate your way into perfect position and then go back and do the linear translation and then do the rotational translation. That was the mission. We separated the final stage, and now we are trying to get into an orbit. Let's see how we are doing. We're still running on the autopilot, so I think we might be that lucky that they're going to actually create the orbit for us. As you can see here, we have an eccentricity. 0.99 means that it is a total
11,
ellipse.
this is Houston, at 10 minutes you are go.
Roger, 11, go.
And 0.0000 would mean a perfect circle. We're not going to get there. We're probably going to get to 0.0003 or 0.0005, something like that. A pretty good orbit. When we have done that, we are going to use this MFD here called Transx to calculate the transfer to the moon. Now we're going to do that before we separate. You can see here we have a lot of fuel in this module here, in this stage here, and we have to use this stage here in order to transfer us from from orbit around Earth to an orbit around the moon. Now we are going to do that by increasing the size of our orbit. So we are increasing the eccentricity, if you will. But unfortunately I have to remember how I use this Transx MFD, because I haven't used it in quite a while, and there's a lot of functions in it that so now we have an orbit, and you can see it is a perfect orbit. We are here, the green line, and you might notice that there are some positions that we need to note.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are confirmed to go for orbit.
We are in orbit, thank you. We have an apoapsis. I think that is this circle here. I can't remember. And it's also hard to see because you can see this is 187 kilometers above Earth. This is 188 kilometers above the surface of Earth, that is. So it is almost a perfect orbit. You can also see here we have time to periapsis, that is 600. Alright, so I can tell you this circle here is periapsis and this circle here is apoapsis. Periapsis is the lowest, you can also see that here, it's the lowest part of the orbit. Apoapsis is the highest part, highest part of the orbit. So what we're going to do is, let's say that the moon is out here with respect to the Earth. So it's out here somewhere, well, actually it would be out here somewhere, but we are going to use, I think it's roughly 3 days, perhaps 4, to travel to the moon. I'm just going to pause it. We're going to use 4 days, roughly 3 days, 4 days to get to the moon. So what we're going to do is we're trying to calculate where will the moon be in 3 days if I burn my engines right now. So that is what we're going to calculate. And what we're actually doing is we're trying to, so let's get this done first. The moon would be here in 3 days. So I'm going to burn my engines here until I extend this part of the orbit all the way out around the moon. Now I don't have to hit the moon exactly, it would actually be terrible if I plumped into the middle of it, but rather I would try to hit it so that I will get caught by the moon's gravity. And as you can imagine, if I didn't do anything, I would fly like this out around the moon and then back again, like that. Or you could also do it like this and then back again, something like that. So what I'm going to do is the exact opposite of what I did here. Here I will do a prograde burn in order to extend my orbit. When I get to the periapsis of the orbit around the moon, when I've caught in the gravitational field of the moon, I'm going to do a retrograde burn in order to decrease the eccentricity of my orbit, so that I, instead of have a perfect orbit around Earth here, I will have roughly perfect orbit around the moon. And when I've done that, I can align myself in order to get to the place where we need to set down the lunar excursion model. I'm not sure we will get to that in this video section here, but we can try it. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video now, and then I'm going to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with the Transfer MX, the Transx MFD. It is really it's quite bad that I can't remember how I did it, but nevertheless I will get back to you when I have just read up on it. Bye bye. Alright, welcome back. So I figured it out. It's because I forgot. First of all, I had to update the Transx MFD to the newest version, the version that ships with Orbitor 2010 and also Orbitor 2016 are not that errors in them, and they don't work so well. And these new versions have a lot of new nice features. Alright, so as you can see here, I'm looking at stage 2. I have the encounter with the moon here, and as you can see, as I adjust things up and down, it changes over the encounter. I'm trying to get the encounter with the moon as close as possible. Alright, so let's try to adjust the date a little bit. Okay, maybe we should go to hyper. Alright, welcome back. So I have fiddled a little with it now, and I think I'm pretty I'm okay. I'm satisfied with what I see here. Now what we're going to do next is to maneuver this let's see if we have it here. We should have. No, it's because we are.
Hey Houston, we see our targets. We have a go for GPS incorporation. Okay, we'll load.
There it is, auto center. Alright, so what we're going to try to do now is to get this green cross here into the center, and that can be a bit tricky because usually these kind of crafts are pretty particular with the fine adjustments. You can see that when we get close to the inner circle, it often just swings really fast by. We are now 6 seconds away from the burn. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And as you can see on these numbers here, it is a pretty large burn that we're going to go through. So I have had the engine just run through, and when we are down to just about a couple of meters or something like that, we're going to kill the engines. And now you also see why we needed to keep the module attached to the third stage, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have enough fuel. Now at some point along the way we're going to dump this engine here, the third stage, but I think we're going to wait to do that until we are pretty sure that we don't need any additional adjustments. And yeah, it's a pretty substantial burn that we need in order to get our orbit out to the moon, so as you can see up there at TAS, our velocity is greatly increasing, which is the point of this. We need to have a larger velocity in order to escape the Earth, the gravity of the Earth, or actually get close enough to the moon that the moon is the substantial part. Now you also get to see the sunrise. It's a lot prettier in the 2016 version, but I'm only using this version in order to use the Apollo lunar modules. So I think at about 200 meters perhaps or something, I'm going to gradually begin to throttle down the engine. Maybe 500, in order not to overshoot. Just throttle a little down here. Down here we're going to throttle it a little more down. And a little bit more. We just want to have a more fine control over how far we get in this burn. And kill the engines. Alright, so now we're going to turn auto center off. We're going to go to rotational, align ourselves so pretty okay with the prograde direction, and then we're going to over here change into view, maneuver, go into variables, and then go to maneuver mode off. And as you can see, we came out a pretty bit distance far, but we're going to try to adjust this using linear. Alright, I just found out that apparently as I am now, I don't have any linear forward and backward thrusters, so I simply just used the main engine as little as possible in order to get there. Now you can see up here that we almost don't have any fuel left. Maybe we should give it a little more and stop, kill it. Yeah, that should be okay. Try to go to the prograde position and kill them. Alright. So now we are on our way to the moon. In the next video, let's just try to get, oh we are upside down. Let's try to view our orbit. As you can see here, we have a hugely orbit here. It's really long, elongated, almost 0.96. It's almost an ellipse. But I'm going to end the video now, and then we are going to then I'm going to get back to you at some point in the next video. There might be some time because I have a week's vacation coming up, a week. So I'm not going to make any new videos at this point. But see you in the next video, the next part. Bye bye.